Right, so if you have a late Sierra with the Pinto engine, I believe it's the same with the 1.6 as the 2, spotting all this grub, or a Mark III Transit with a late Pinto, so we're talking 89 this year is, the likelihood is you have a Weber 3034 carburetor which has a bizarre electronic control unit which takes temperatures via a step motor to basically control how much fuel it's putting in, etc. Awful system. Ideally you want to get rid of it, but when you always want to try things first. So one of the first things you can change, which is likely causing it, is your coolant temperature sensor. So that's what I need to do on this one. I found it via Mark III Transits for £12.45 via the part number, which I'll put a link to how to find that in the description. And it is the same, easiest thing to do. There's a lot of options that come up, especially the eBay will send you different ones stuff. Just take it out and look at it and then compare. That's what I did, and then I stuck it back in because I wanted to continue using the car while I waited. So here's how you get it out. So it's this white connector here. This is the coolant temperature sensor. You just want to unclip that. If I can manage to do it one hand. Yeah, like so. Unclip that and move it out the way best you can, because there's going to be fluid that comes out of here, so you ideally don't want that going into the connector. So you're going to want to put like cardboard or whatever you got handy underneath, and some sort of container to catch as much as you can. I've also got another container which I'll, once I have a free hand, put under here to just get more coolant. At the end of the day, you probably want to change it anyway, if your coolant's as old as mine is. You're also going to want to remove the cap beforehand, obviously engine cold, so it's not got lots of pressure, just to make life easier. I need to top mine up because I've already done this, so it leaks them up and it's been running and stuff. So that needs a top up, that's okay. It's also on a slope here, so it's a bit difficult for me to judge. Because, yeah, so I have to move it to flat to do that later. Make sure you do that on a flat, and it might take a while. There's plenty of videos on how to bleed up and replace coolant, so that's fine. So what you're going to want on these is a 25mm spanner around this, anti-clockwise, so push that way. I don't have one. I did order one for this because I thought, oh, I won't get the sensor for a while, it will come in time, but it hasn't. So I'm just going to use an adjustable wrench. So and just undo that. It shouldn't be stupidly tight. You might need two hands. Oh no. Right, when you get it loose, you can do it by hand, and fluid should leak out of this. Because mine's already been off once, there might not be a lot of fluid actually to leak out. We shall find out. Just a little bit, nothing too major. So try and collect as much as that you can. It's nasty stuff after all. There you go. I got a fair amount this time, much better than last time. And when that stops doing its job, you can put the new one in 1 second. So now it's a bit slower. I've wedged this container in while it does a bit more draining. Catch as much as you can. As you can see, mine's really dirty, so no point really putting that back in if you got some spare. I have anyway, so that's fine. You ideally want a bigger container. I would usually use something plastic from recycling, but my recycling got taken today, so I just used what I had laying around. So your sensor will look something like this. So a little bit manky, two connectors, there you go. If you got the same one as me, again, you should check. So what you can do is, before buying a new one, is you can check it on your voltmeter, ideally with crocodile chips. But if you just put your 2 pins, I'm not going to do it on camera because I haven't got crocodile clips. Put your 2 pins to the pins. I will double check the pin output quickly, 1 second. So I've just checked. So if you've got this big lump pointing that way, left pin is red, right pin is black. So this one's reading 38 kiloamps at the moment with the current temperature. This one's reading about 48. temperature's around 15 degrees today, more like 20 with the sun or about, but you know, you can roughly guess from that. Neither one's getting the same values, so I don't know whether this is actually going to fix the issue. I'm going to change it anyway, since there's not many options without spending 400 quid on a different carb. There's actually a conversion kit from Fast Road Cars, which is a Weber 3234 manual choke, which goes almost straight in. Once the system's mostly drained, put the new sensor in, or your old one if you're keeping it, and just do it up and connect it afterwards. So this is located on bottom of the carb manifold, I should have really said earlier, but I hope that was kind of easy. So just do it up. I don't know if there's any torque gratings, just do it, hand tie it, and then finish tying it up. Basically, as long as you get no fluid leaking out when it's done up properly, it should be fine. Just grab my... Yeah, so you'll know when it's done. If I'd say personally, when I took the old one out and put it back in, I did it up until I couldn't do it by one hand anymore, and it was fine, nothing leaked out. I mean, I still had the issue, but I'm sure you know. Alright, we'll see what happens when this is done. So there's quite a long thread, so you might be turning it for quite a while, but you'll get an idea around that sort of gap. I have took a photo up closer of it. Once you've done that, just plug it back in. There you go, like that. That's in. Looks good. I don't see any fluid leaking out, so I suggest I've done it enough, or whoever done it, we'll find out soon enough. Then once you do that, top up this. You're gonna have to top it up again once you ran it a little while and all that jazz. This isn't a coolant change video, so you know I'm not going to go too much into that. I'm gonna just fill that up to round about the line. It is on a max, but I want to make sure there's enough coolant in the system, and I'm going to run it up for a little bit and see what happens. You'll know if it hasn't fixed the problem, because it just stink of fuel forever. Once you've got it all connected up and you've topped the coolant up to around max again, I just put some of the old coolant back in, and it went there. It's going to need more because it did lose some. Didn't catch it all. It's fine. No harm in it. Seatbelt's caught. I'm actually going to leave that open to air the car out a little bit because it's now winter. It's only kept under a cover. Right, I need to take that out. I'll grab that in a minute. Alright, so you want to start it up next, as you normally would do. Make sure, if you've got a car cover, make sure your cover is clear of the exhaust, so it doesn't burn it and whatnot. There you go, we have life. No choke at all. Really lots of fuel smelling, but that might just be fuel sat in the carb. Let me check the back. It does smell very heavy. Excuse the rough running. And also for me, what was that water dropping down from my car cover? So that my exhaust has started blowing again, even though I just got it replaced. The weld's popped. That's what I need to sort. So you can see the shaking. Likely it is, this is only running on 3 cylinders. Whether or not that's the sensor's fault is different. That's what this hole was about, testing that. For me, I only get the rough running when I'm on idle, because that's when the computer kicks in. So if I give it some throttle, we should be able to see the engines eventually stop shaking. About 2.5. Let off. We've got some shaking violently. You can hear it just plummeting fuel in, smoking. Well, you can actually see the fuel just spitting out here. See all the black bits. So that is running really rough. About the same. So in my case, that hasn't solved the problem, I don't think. Run it for a little bit longer anyway. Try and get it up to temp, but check your sensor, make sure no fluid's leaking out of it. I can't see anything that suggests it is, or significantly. It looks connected properly. And there's a wire going from it still, none of that looks like it's damaged. There is another potential sensor that I'll have to look into further now. There could also be a hole in the, so these things have carb eaters, if you have the 3034, and basically it will, the seal on that, the O-ring can go, and that can cause the rough running as well because the heat's just escaping. I mean, my carb doesn't seem to be kicking in at all. That's better. Now, has the carb kicked out and it stopped giving it extra fuel? Less shaking. I think it's still spitting out fuel, but I can't see any around here. Doesn't smell as bad. Still see a bit of white smoke coming out. You might not catch that on the camera. So you've got a bit of heat in it now. Engine's quiet again, so it's not doing the same. We're still getting a little bit of shaking, but nothing major, nothing that I would consider off necessarily. And it smells better. Now, I wouldn't say if that solved my issue, but it might have made it better, because the values I was getting between the sensors were different. I was getting a higher value with the new sensor. Also, this issue only happens in the winter for me. In the summer, it's usually fine. Choke's always been a bit funny. See, also, no, it's drained some coolant because it's refilled the system. So you just, once it's cooled down, leave it like half an hour to an hour, you'll have to top that back up again. And just keep doing that and just watch it, basically. I don't think there's extra fuel and the white smoke's gone. So that's very good. I do need to fix that blowing exhaust though. So you're getting a bit more temp in it now. Nearly up to temp. That is a lot better. Because what we were seeing previously is it's continuously shaking and sticking fuel out. Again, whether that solved the problem completely, I'm not convinced. These carb systems have always been trouble, they're a load of crap. You can afford to change it, but for £12.50, if it makes it a little bit better, you know, what's the harm? What I might do, to see if it's still spitting out, I'm going to grab the cardboard bit I used here, only a Domino's box, you know, and just stick that here, see if it spits any out. The other thing you can do is put your, basically put your hand against it and see if you get a black mark. Just block the exhaust for a second. I get a little bit, so it is not running right still, but nothing too bad there anyway. And we'll see if I give it a few revs if we get any exhaust black on that pizza box. No, but we do get a bit of burning smell, so that's better. So that might help you, or it might at least improve the situation, maybe not solve it. Yeah, keep trying. I'll put in the comments, not in the comments, sorry, the description, a link to where I got like an extended views of the entire carburetor. That might be useful, and anything else that I find that's useful before I upload this. So hopefully that might help some people. System's quite wear, and this year is the same as the Mark III Transit. Yeah, one of those things. Hope that's helpful to some people. Cheers and goodbye.